welcome to this week's edition of the Fantasy Report. I'm Liam Yates, my partner.
Ryan Berry.
We're going to start this week off the same way we've done the last couple of weeks with a little 2-minute drill from Poogie. We'll be right back. And we're back. We're going to start off again, same as always, love, hate. My partner, lead us off.
Absolutely. Quarterback I love this week, Phillip Rivers. They're playing the Raiders. I think any quarterback against the Raiders is viable for the love list. Rivers quietly having a very good season, MVP candidate. I think this is a no-brainer.
I don't know about MVP candidate, but quarterback I love this week, Andrew Luck versus Jacksonville. We've gone over it a couple times already on the report that Jacksonville's a mess. It's an absolute dumpster fire. Andrew Luck's coming off of a bye. He's been killing it this year, an actual MVP candidate. So I love Andrew Luck this week.
One thing I disagree with that, I think the Colts O-line will not be able to compensate for the Jags D-line.
Even though they just got rid of Dante Fowler.
He was underperforming anyway. So get some picks for him, plug in someone that'll do something. It's a known fact that the Colts O-line has been trashed for
they got
years.
They got Connor Williams in the draft, and he's as an offensive lineman a candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
That's one player.
I mean, that's a big difference.
Well, we'll see on Sunday, boys.
We'll see on Sunday.
Running back, I love Joe Mixon against the Saints. I think the Bengals, did they win last week? They were on bye. They were on bye, so they did not win last week. I think this is a statement game. Saints just coming off a statement game for sure.
Yeah.
I think the Saints will win, but fantasy implications, I think the Bengals have a decent game on offense.
Well, running back I love this week, Adrian Peterson at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's got the second or third worst run defense in the league and are giving up the second or third most fantasy points to running backs all season. Adrian Peterson had a tough go this past week, but I think he bounces back big time here against Tampa Bay and with a defense that just can't stop anybody.
Last wide receiver I love, someone no one expects me to pick, Larry Fitz at Chiefs. God's watching. I think Jared Rosen kind of gets a little comfy in this game. Maybe a pick. Arizona's going to get destroyed, don't get that wrong. But I think Larry Fitz has kind of secured himself as the security blanket of the offense. Coming off 2 very good weeks, look it up. And I see it happening this week, Cavs. You're welcome.
Receiver I love this week, Jarvis Landry versus Atlanta. Atlanta's defense has looked better in the last couple of weeks, but still giving up the second or third, again, most points to receivers in fantasy this season. There's no real alternative to Jarvis Landry. If you are picking a receiver on the Browns, you're picking Jarvis Landry. You're not picking Antonio Callaway or
Njoku.
And Njoku will probably have a decent game as well, but I think the clear one to separate himself from the pack this season has been Jarvis Landry. I think he continues that this week versus Atlanta.
Now, player I hate this week at the quarterback position. Hate to take the easy road on this one, but anyone that's starting for the Bills at Jets. You heard it last week. I said Jets Dolphins is crazy. Well, Jets Bills is even crazier. I think if Nathan Peterman picks, that's a guaranteed defensive touchdown for the Jets.
Probably on the first play of the game.
Probably the first play. But same could be said for the Bills. Darnold coming off 4 picks.
Quarterback I hate this week, Matt Stafford at Chicago. Talking about someone who just absolutely raped all of the Bills quarterbacks, particularly Nathan Peterman. The Bears defense is legit. I don't think there's any questions about that. Matt Stafford had a tough week this past week without Golden Tate in the lineup. I think he continues that. Kenny Golladay, I thought he was going to have a big week. He didn't. He's a deep threat. That's all he is. They need a guy underneath because Stafford's one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the league and has been his whole career. Without that, I think he's going to have a tough week against probably the best defense in football.
Another player I hate, running back. Chris Ivory, I think he qualifies because he's been in Jimmy's lineup somewhat consistently as of late. I think it's a reach. You're banking on the goal line carry, and frankly, the Bills are never on the goal line. So, add 1-on-1 together, no.
And then a little bit of a surprise here, running back I hate this week is Ezekiel Elliott. At Philadelphia, Philadelphia's defense has been good as they've been a weird team this year coming off that Super Bowl. Their defense has been solid. They've given up the least amount of points to running backs all season. Dallas's offense is an enigma. No one knows what they're doing ever. Is Dak going to run for 80 yards and throw for 200?
Probably not.
Is he going to do nothing and no one's going to do anything and they're going to lose by 30? No one knows. They just got the shit beat out of them by the Titans. Who knows what's going on? I don't think Zeke's going to do much of anything this week against the Eagles.
Last player I hate. Wide receiver. I hate to do it to you. Tyreek Hill. Against Arizona, some would say it's a pretty decent matchup, but I think if you look at the last 2 weeks, Tyreek Hill has come a little bit closer to the mean. I think there's too many targets to go around. People were hating on Sammy Watkins. Yeah, he had one good game, but he's a consistent 8 points every week. So, Pat Pete, Tyreek Hill, he's basically just punt returning every time he gets the ball. I don't see
Maybe
it.
he takes back a kick. Maybe. I'll take those points. Receiver I hate this week is Golden Tate, actually, versus Dallas. Golden Tate, even though he had a bye week to prepare, we didn't see much at all this week from any of the guys who got traded. I think that's going to hold consistent here. It's going to take some time for him to integrate himself into the offense. I do expect him to take most, if not all, of Nelson Aguilar's target shares, but I don't think it's necessarily going to result in fantasy production this week versus Dallas.
Couldn't agree with you.
And that's going to conclude Love-Hate for this week. We're going to move into our next section. Who's in, who's out? We're talking playoffs.
Come to Brand. Get excited.
LeBron,
Playoffs,
I'm
baby.
excited, okay? I'm ready for the playoffs.
Chosen one. Postseason. Postseason.
All right, postseason back at you.
Chosen one.
We're going to go through the 3, 4, and 5 teams that are battling it out currently for the 7, 8 spots in the playoffs.
Not us.
Not us. 5 wins.
Unbiased opinion.
So the first one we're going to go through is Jay. He is 8th in points for, 4th in points against, and is currently out of the playoffs. What do you have to say here about Jay's team? Tyler Eifert's ankle.
The quarterbacks really don't excite me, and when you have Kareem Hunt, well done. I think it's an overall kind of average team. You got Peyton Barber in there. OJ Howard should be good with Fitzpatrick. Brandon Cooks kind of hit or miss. Kareem Hunt, sure thing. Howard, who knows. Baker Mayfield and Stafford. Wow. Good luck.
I mean, my biggest question marks here for Jay's team is not as much the quarterbacks. I think they're producing enough. It's more Jordan Howard. And having 2 tight ends like that, you have Njoku and OJ Howard, who are both solid tight ends. Instead of maybe even putting Peyton Barber in the flex, maybe put both of them in the flex. I mean, you got Emmanuel Sanders, who's been good. Jordan Howard is completely dependent on how the Bears are playing. If the Bears are winning, he's going to be running the ball a lot. But if they're losing, he's almost a not factor.
It seems like when they're winning, it's more Tariq Cohen.
Yeah. I mean,
And when they're losing, it's no one. So,
I hate to do it. I hate to do it to you, Jay, but I'm going to stick with your current situation as being out.
But there's optimism, for sure.
Definitely. Now the next team, someone we've had a good deal of conversation about so far this season, is John Huber and Moneyball Squad. He is 4 and 5 as well. He is 6th in points for and 1st in points against, and he is currently in. Looking at his team, what do you guys say?
Kind of jerked him off a little last week. Solid quarterbacks. Running backs could be a very big strength going forward. You got Sony Michel, Saquon, Devontae Adams, proven great wide receiver 1. Deshaun Jackson's a
Big
little
boomer bust.
little bit of a question mark. Same goes for Crabtree.
I mean, I look at your
And
team.
tight end, you need to fill that.
I mean, the problem I see right now that's jumping off the roster is Latavius Murray with Dalvin Cook being back. I am very biased in that, but you have running backs filled out. Is Jeff Hoyerman your tight end? I mean, without
Seems like
Demaryius
you got
Thomas.
lucky last week.
Without Demaryius Thomas, we all expected that to be Cortland Sutton's job, but is it Jeff Hoyerman's targets? Do they really believe in him more than they believe in Cortland Sutton? There's a lot of question marks, but
I find that tough to believe.
I mean, we've been saying it all season. John's team is good. I can't bet against them. I think in for sure.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And then last for who's in and who's out, we're going to look at Jimmy's team, Get Cancer, who my partner here declared just a few weeks ago actually had cancer. So let's take a look at
And
the
I
team.
think he put up 80 this week.
after putting up 180 against me, come on, Jim. You're 5th in points for, 7th in points against, and you are currently in. Also, no, on that 6th and 5th in points for, they're only separated by like 13 points. Very similar teams, just John's been a lot more unlucky with how teams have been producing against him. Looking at Jimmy's team,
QB2 is a huge hole.
huge. I don't think you've gotten that one right all season. Like, I feel like when you have Donald in, Eli does better, and when you have Eli in, Donald does better. That's just poor luck, but
Thought you would have learned from the 0-4 team last year. Clearly didn't.
the biggest question I have for Jimmy's team is trading Adrian Peterson with really no one to fill in for him.
TJ Yeldon.
TJ Yeldon's not going to be
Leonard's
much.
back. So
Leonard's
he
back.
is beat.
I mean, Le'Veon's back, maybe.
I think if Le'Veon comes back, that's actually worse for Jimmy,
I mean,
personally.
so I think the biggest question here for Jimmy is Chris Ivory the guy? Is that going to be your running back 2 every week?
No,
It can't be.
it really can't.
It can't be. I mean,
Hey,
he's
Jim,
on the
Duke Johnson
He's on waivers.
might be someone you might want to
I
invest
don't
in.
know. I wasn't even planning on doing this before, but I think I'm putting Jimmy out.
Wow.
I think we have someone else come in. Maybe Mech, maybe Cavs.
Don't forget AJ Green is on the bench.
I mean, the receivers are
How long
fine.
is he going to be out for, though?
Big question mark.
The toe is hurt every single year. Definitely should be concerned if you're Jimmy.
I think so too. I think Jimmy's out. Even though Cam Newton's been solid.
Jared Cook, he's definitely quieted down as of late.
Yeah, I
Just-
mean, what
you
did
just
he
traded
start off?
Gronk.
He started off.
Started off as hotter than a fox in a forest fire. He has cooled down to an ice cube.
I mean, actually 15 last week before
Three last 4 weeks, 4, 2, 15, 3. Average that, that's about 6.5, 7.
Quick math.
Quick math.
So what do you think? In or out?
I'm gonna say out, and Billy sneaks it.
Billy sneaks in. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to conclude who's in and who's out this week. Now we're going to move into a much anticipated interview with Matt Cavalier. We're going to have a few hard-hitting questions for Cavs about what he's been doing this season, because I know we're all asking questions.
So is God.
Welcome you here to the Fantasy Report. We're happy to have you. We got a couple
Thanks
questions.
for having me on, Liam.
Couple questions here for you. The first one, not necessarily fantasy report related. You know, we've been giving you a lot of hate. We want to back off that for a second. Did you fuck that black chick?
I did not fuck her.
Oh.
She actually wanted to date and asked me kind of like what happened between us because I stopped responding to her.
Little
And
ghost.
she deleted my number and then sent me a long paragraph in a Snapchat DM. And I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, 'cause it was kind of like later. And she just kind of asked like what happened between us. And yeah, it just kind of fell through. But like I made out with her
My nigga.
when I was drunk. And it didn't seem right after. Like when I woke up the next morning, it was just like, I shouldn't have done that, you know, and I just did it to say it. I made out with a black chick and just, I didn't want to, like, continue that. That was just it with that. Yep, but.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hot was she?
Like.
Blackness
I don't know,
factored in.
Like a black chick rating or like compared to a white chick rating? I don't know what.
Black chick
I've never
rating.
rated- I've never. I guess a solid. Like. I'm gonna go with 6.8.
6.8. Not too bad.
Yeah.
So what's that on like the
Not-
grand
not
scheme?
too
Like a
bad.
5.2?
Yeah. I got a drunk 5.2. We give a drunk 5.2.
All right. All right, next question's going to go back to fantasy. We want to talk about the trades you just made. We think that trade was actually very good for you. You want to talk us through your negotiations so far this season, why this trade was the right one for you?
So I kind of backed off trading this year because every year, you know, all my trades just kind of look like good. And then later in the year, the people that I get just kind of go downhill. Mick knows that. Everybody knows in the league. That's why I just get shit on all the time for making bad trades. But I felt this year, you know, Kurt, like I need to fill a wide receiver hole. Jeffrey really filled that void for me.
I'm glad you found someone to fill your void.
Yeah. Well, my wide receivers average 4 points a game total between all two or three, whatever you want to do it. My tight end is probably my best player right now, and it's kind of sad, but that's what happens when you draft Leonard Fournette 11th overall, and he sits all year. It's kind of a shit show season.
Yeah, not what you want to see. And then our last question for you, Cavs, is we want to talk about your picture, Mr. Incredible, and what inspired that.
I don't know. I had the black guy as my picture for a little bit, and it just didn't seem right anymore.
Not after your experience with the girl?
Not after my experience, yeah. And then I changed my name back to Team Cavalier because I was following the commission. The commission did it, so it's gotta mean something. So I changed my name back to Team Cavalier.
I mean, is Billy the guy you want to be following right now? He's right there at the bottom with you.
He's not. But Bill's a good guy, and I trust whatever he's doing. I'm buying in. So
that's the process you're trusting.
And God is not watching my team. He's watching everybody else's team. But right now, He's good with my team. So
you heard it here first, everybody. God is not watching Cavs' team. There have been rumors about that for a couple weeks, but now it is confirmed by Cavs himself. God is not watching his team. All right. Yep. Cavs, really great to have you on. Happy to have you. Yep. Would love to do it again sometime. You have a great rest of your night, all right, bud?
Yeah, you too. Thank you for having me on.
No problem, bud.
Take it easy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to call a press conference tonight because I know there's been a lot of speculation and concerns about my picks from last week. I'm not going to comment on that. All I can say is I'm focused on Week 10. I'll now open it up to questions. Yes.
So there's no actual video evidence of whether or not you went 4-2. Would you like to comment on that?
Like you said, there's a lack of evidence for anyone to get hung up on that. Just a testament to that, who they are as a person and who they are as a fantasy football team owner and manager. I'm focused on Week 10.
So are you saying you went 4-2?
I'm focused on Week 10.
Did you go 4-2?
Week 10. Thank you. FRANK, Poogie. Welcome to Poogie's Picks. And all we're going to be talking about is Week 10. If you want to talk about my press conference, go watch that. You should have been there if you had questions. Let's get right into it. Bottom line is I'm shooting for 4-2, probably going to go 5-1. Got to offset some questionable records. We don't even know if that happened. More than likely, I went 4-2 last week. You can dispute it. Suck. All right. Getting right into it. Ocho Grandes versus Lights Camara action. Now, I know if I pick Gibbs, he's going to fucking put up 70, and if I don't pick him, he's going to put up 200. That's being said, I'd rather him put up 70. Lights Camara action takes it over the Ocho Grandes. Sorry, Gibby. Next, got a fucking barn burn coming up for you guys. Aren't you embarrassed versus Grab the Wiener? Both of kind of teeter-tottering over the mediocrity wave of this league. And you know what? Not to say one team's better than the other, but I just think Mick this week just has a lot of gas to cook with. AP's back, Nick Chubb, Antonio, and then, I don't know, has Michael Thomas got a fucking 211 in him and another few tutties on a cell phone celly? Probably. But Jared Goff isn't on his team. So that's on me. It's a testament to where my head's been at the past few weeks. Dak Prescott. Don't even know this guy in San Francisco. just like I said, just a whole wave of mediocrity coming from Grab the Wiener. I think Aren't You Embarrassed takes it and moves on. Next, we got Two Girlies, One Cup versus the most insignificant, most irrelevant team in the history of fantasy football. I gave you a chance. I told you there are other guys itching for your spot in this league. And what do? Lay an egg. The only way Cavs can. That being said, Two Girlies, One Cup. There's only been a few teams that have been able to stop them. Ocho Grandes, to name a few off the top of my head. But I think they get back on track this week, and I think they give Cavs the business, just like every other team in the league. Next, we got Tyler Eifert's ankle versus the Star of David. The Jews have been very impressive. They cooked Jimmy up last week in the oven. Baker Mayfield is question marks in Cleveland, and you can trace that all the way back from LeBron going to the Lakers. Nothing's been the same for that city ever since. J.R. Smith wants to leave, so how can Baker Mayfield perform in that kind of ambiance? I don't know. Kareem Hunt, shaky, flex is empty, good one. He's projected 106, and Kurt's projected 150. I know projections don't mean a lot, but they don't mean a lot if they're close. If you're projected 150, you got a fucking solid team. Kurt's got a solid team. Tyler Eifert's ankle is just hanging on by a thread at this point. Star of David takes it. The Jews keep rolling. Whatever. Fuck that. Next, we got Spaghetti Sauce versus Big Baller Brand. He's got a fucking fire-ass pick. It's kind of getting me hard. It's Zanib, who I saw the other day, and I waved. So, you tell me who's winning this week. It's a great picture, but I just think Eddie deserves a win. He killed Cavs last week. OBJ, Monday Night Football.
At the end of the day, I went through practice, had 0 drops, 0 missed assignments. There was nothing that could connect 7 days ago to today and how we came out and played and executed. There's just nothing in the world that's not realistic.
Against the 49ers, I think he's going to be a big dog, and Calvin Ridley against the Browns. I think that's going to be 2 huge wide receiver days for him, and I think since we moved to PPR, that's going to give him the edge this week and send Big Baller Brand home with another L. Keeps racking them up, and we